back door because at first it was too heavy.
It was just ugly. It was ugly. It sounded like Cookie Monster. People call it Cookie Monster metal. And then we found bands like Limp Bizkit and then Linkin Park came out. So we had this movement of just different.
It really
types.
did launch. I felt like it launched a new kind of metal. I saw a lot of bands.
It was fun, but when you get that big, everything that you dreamt about comes true musically, but then the things that I never dreamt about, being a drug addict or having coke dealers and come and bringing 8-balls and just all these crazy girls that would just do anything. Like, you don't think about that when you're a little kid. You're just like, I love music. And so it got really dark pretty fast.
So the drugs weren't there until the fame, would you say?
No, they were there the whole time. But when we started Korn, it's such a crazy story, but when we started Korn, one of our guys that acted as our manager in the beginning, he actually was dealing meth secretly. And so one by one, us in the band, we discovered that up late, with them drinking beer, and then most people go home and we're like, hey, I better go home, I'm tired. And he's like, just got all this energy. Next thing you know, we're doing lines with him with meth, and so it was me, the guitar player, and the singer, and we were doing it separately and secretly. And the manager guy wouldn't tell the other guys. And then one night we look at each other. We said, "You've been doing this too?" And then we started doing meth together. But when we got signed, we were like, meth was kind of crazy. It's a crazy drug. It brings you up, and then you can't sleep, and you kind of turn into a zombie-like looking person. And so when we got the record deal, we were like, we got to stop doing this. We're not gonna take this on our career, the beginning of our career. So I pretty much stopped it, but I would do it once in a while, like maybe 3 or 4 times a year for the next few years.
Okay. So how do you find Jesus in that lifestyle?
Well, it's crazy because it got worse and worse. It's like anything we wanted. I didn't do speed, like none of the guys wanted to do speed, but cocaine was everywhere. And so cocaine, you don't stay up for 3 days, you don't turn into like a tweaker, and you could function. And so people would do cocaine and then take a Xanax at the end of like 4 a.m. and go to sleep, get some sleep and everything. And we started finding out people in the music industry and the entertainment industry in general were like, there was a couple friends that we had that died from just mixing uppers and downers and stuff. So we were kind of scared with it, but we were addicted, so we just kept going, and we would take 3 nights off, and then we'd feel like totally healthy and be like, we're good, man, we're not and so it was just crazy. And then we all got married in around 97, 98, and by 2001, everybody was divorced. 5 guys, 5 kids and everything, and divorce settlements, and all this crazy stuff. And so when my wife left me, she left me in the worst way. She took, she turned into a meth head, actually, because me and her would do it once in a while, but she turned into a meth head. And so she had this boyfriend and his friends move into my house. I was on tour with Metallica, the biggest band in rock and roll, and playing stadiums. And I found out at home my wife had a new boyfriend. She was living in there, and she denied it. And one day on the phone, she's like, yeah, I do. I'm leaving you. I'm taking half your money. And basically, I'm going to party with this guy. And I was just like, I wanted to commit murder. I talked to this guy. He used to be an ex-gang member working for Korn. And so I had this hate in my heart. And I was like, how much would it cost to do this to this guy? And he just looked at me and he said, he was a member, like he's helped the Crips get started in LA. And he was just like, he goes, you can do that if you want, but once you cross that line, you can never go back. And so I just remember saying, I don't need a target on my back the rest of my life. And so I didn't do that. And I actually got sober when my wife left me for like 4 months. And then 9/11 hit. And I just couldn't get sober, you guys. I was like, there's a hole in me. I had millions of dollars. I bought my dream house. I had a white horse. I had like BMWs. I had everything, but I couldn't find satisfaction in all of that. And then I hated myself because I couldn't find satisfaction in the riches and the dream that came true. So I was like, I want to die because I'm like not grateful or something, But little did I know it was God drawing me in. And so in 2004, well, after 9/11 happened, I started drinking again, and it was 4 months sober. It felt so good, but I just couldn't stay sober. And so after that, I was so sick of going back and forth with drugs and alcohol that I was like, I'm just gonna go off the deep end. And so I just started trying to just womanize, just getting any groupie. You know, I had my own tour bus, me and one bodyguard. Every band member had their own tour bus. That's how much money was flowing in. And so I had pills, I had doctors, even doctors I went to see. I would have like a pain in my body and be like, I need Vicodin. And they'd give me like, 60 Vicodin, and then I could just text them or call them, I guess. They didn't have text, but I was like, I need more Vicodin. And so it was just one addiction after another. I swore I wasn't going to do crystal meth again because my wife, and she left our family because of meth. But I ended up doing meth one last time, and that turned into a 2-year addiction. By that time, I moved all the way back to Bakersfield, where Corn started. And my parents were helping me with my daughter, and I was a meth addict. I was a junkie, and I was taking my drugs all around the world. I packed them in my suitcase and everything, and I remember my lowest point was I ran out of speed in Europe, and I talked my dealer into sending me, like through FedEx or something, 8 balls of meth. And I watched my package come and get delivered and everything. I saw it online, I was tracking it, and you can't send drugs across different countries. You just can't do that. And I felt it. I felt the
Are
weight.
you writing this down?
Don't do that.
Very practical.
But I felt the weight of the guilt, and I felt the weight of I'm a loser. I am such a loser that I'm sending drugs from America to Germany or wherever it was. And I'm risking my freedom here. And this is the lowest I've ever been. And so after that tour, I went home. I was in Bakersfield, 2 hours north of LA. I was there with my daughter, and I was like, I'm going to go to a rehab place. I went to a rehab place. It didn't work. My dealers would do anything for me because I was in a rock band, Even if I said, don't give me any more. And I would talk them into it afterwards. And so one of these guys, I was the biggest tweaking real estate. Like, I was so smart with my money that I would be like on speed, and I'd be like, hey, let's go buy some land. Because I love to see my money grow, and I love stock. I had stocks and real estate. So I was like this functional tweaker. So how funny God is, I'm in my pain, and God.
I'm actually going to start. I'm looking at my real estate agent different now. Because he's really good, but.
So, is he quick?
Yeah, he's real quick. Just let's buy. Okay.
Just let me meet him this weekend. I'll tell you if he's.
We'll screen him.
And so we start buying land and everything, and he invited me to go to church, and I'm just like, he was a real estate guy, but he built monster trucks. He was the coolest dude, and I just want to hang out in his garage and see all these. He would put his trucks in the SEMA show, the car show in Las Vegas. Every year he'd win. He won like 3-4 years in a row when I was friends with him. And he was just the coolest guy. And I was like, he invited me to go to church, and I was like, this guy is not like Ned Flanders at all. Because I thought Christians were like Ned Flanders. You just want to choke them.
That's just pastors. That's just pastors. Yeah. Not all the Christians.
But like, you serve and
hi, neighbor.
And their kids are so like proper that you just like, oh. So this was nothing like that, man. This guy's family was just so cool, and they were Christians, and he invited me to go to church. I remember I was up all night doing meth because I was doing meth every night, and I was a functioning guy. I would stay up till 4 a.m. or something, and then take a Xanax and go to sleep for 3 hours. Wake up with my daughter when she goes to school. I'd do it again, and that was just a functioning addict. And so I went to church high on meth, and I was just like, I got to get sober. Maybe these Christians, I know that they probably don't do meth. And so I got to hang out at the church,
That's an 80% rule.
And so I was just, what I did? I just listened. And the pastor was there, and he said that he used to be alcoholic, and he beat his wife one day, and she messed up her back so bad that they thought it was going to be permanent. And she left him, and he dropped to his knees and said, Jesus, if you give me my marriage back, I will serve you the rest of my life, because he was a backslidden Christian. And within a little bit, his marriage was restored. She forgave him, and he gave his life to Jesus, and he started that church, and he was still there. And I was like, so there's a door open to this understanding of like, there's really a God who is invisible, but like he comes and lives inside of you, he taught. And I was like, well, that's weird. He goes, he'll prove it to you. And I'm like, really, I gotta try this. I gotta see if Jesus will prove that he's real, that he can actually come and live inside of me by his